It may be too early to tell, but Kiln is potentially one of the most fun games of the year. Move over Grand Theft Slop, forget about Resident Snorvel, and I've never heard of Tomidachi Life. This is literally peak fiction. If you haven't heard of it, I don't blame you. Who's really paying attention to what Xbox is doing nowadays, nor do they ever have any cares about advertising their products. But this is from the minds at Double Fine, who you would most likely know from Brutal Legend. Oh yeah, and maybe the Psychonauts series. And they brought their iconic style, humor, and fantastic music over while adding a really silly yet fun idea to it. Kiln is a multiplayer beat-em-up about making pots you use to battle people. The objective is to quench the other team's kiln. That's the name of the movie. It always feels reductive to make comparisons to another title when you're trying to sell a game, because it makes it seem as if there isn't a lot of creativity and passion behind it, but it feels cut from a similar cloth as Splatoon. That isn't to say it's derivative, as I think the game's quirks lend itself to feeling pretty distinct, particularly the pots themselves, which are the game's defining feature, obviously. There's 3 different sizes, large, medium, and Blorgus, and 8 different abilities for each of the sizes in total, split between bowls, plates, bottles, vases, jugs, cups, and vessels. Explain what all the abilities are, I'm too lazy to do it. The gameplay of Kiln is defined much more from the maps than it is the pots, at least in part. Different maps have individual emphasis on playstyles, maneuverability, and routes to be taken. Some maps heavily favor medium due to a need for both speed as well as endurance. Others lean more towards heavy for being less reliant on quick pathing and more focused on combat. And then there's maps that rely on speedy routes and dodging the enemy, which is best fit for the small class. Really feels like certain maps reward different styles of play, and that can really go into what you decide to play as. Only problem is that you unfortunately only have access to your top 3 pots at a time, and you can't know what map you're playing before you're in it, and at that point it's too late to change what pots you can use. So if you're like me and you really enjoy playing the heavy class, you're gonna have to make something work on some of the maps. All of the maps are really fun though. Opposite to duking it out on the variety of maps, there's the pottery itself, which not only affects your character gameplay-wise, being able to customize your ability, health, and carrying capacity, but it's the space for expression and creation. To make a weird little guy and show off that weird little guy to the other people, where you can see their weird little guys. The hub area where you make pots feels tailor-made to spur creativity from seeing other people's pots and just to have a relaxed time while you make something that will be your representation of your own artistry. It's meant to inspire you to inspire others to create something. It's also worth mentioning that the music while making the pots and roaming about the hub world is fantastic. The music in general is really enjoyable, and the smooth jazz really fits the vibe of sitting on a pottery wheel pondering what to make, while the bombastic, zany tracks of the maps fit the chaotic party combat. In some ways, the pot making is finicky, a bit odd, and could stand to be a bit more intuitive. But on the other hand, it's not really meant to be a normal character creator, is it? It's pottery. And the game seems very adamant on having you create something and destroying it just so you can make something else. It feels as if the developers are trying to spur inspiration in someone to make what they care about, even if it's not perfect. Even if it stands that things could come out better than what you think you can do, or if you even make something you didn't intend to when you started out. It's more than just creating a character. You're making a piece of art. They aren't intending for you to half-ass it and breeze on through. Some of the pots I've seen are genuinely really creative, cute, and visually stunning. The creator is only as limited as the art of pottery as well as the limits of what their imagination can muster. And that's what makes it even more impressive that someone could come up with something so spectacular. I expect if nothing else, this game will live on for even a few people just because making pots is something that's really fun and special. It's something I've never really seen in a video game before, and I respect the devs for going out of their way to try to create a unique experience like that. Honestly, it makes me want to try out real pottery. And in looking into stuff for this video, it seems my aimless speculation was right on the money. In a really great interview with GameSpot that I would say is worth reading for yourselves, Kiln's director Derek Brand focuses on this exact idea. Yes, there's games with character creators and stuff, but there wasn't one that felt like it was built for an artist, I guess, and really made people feel like they were being creators. The transformation that it takes from this goop to this beautiful object, we're trying to represent that in the game and do it all justice, and at the same time, make it easy, fun to do, and approachable. Because pottery is very accessible. It's a pretty simple art form in that it's clay, but it's also difficult. It takes practice. Our goal that we discovered as we were developing the game was we wanted people to feel like this is a pottery power fantasy, that it enables you to make weird little guys easily and is approachable. Side note, I read this interview after I made this script already, and I didn't know that the developer referred to them as weird little guys, and I think it's really funny that we both decided to say that about it. We at the studio are always about handmade games. That's part of our creative identity and a part of this game. It's really important for Kiln because of what it's about. It's all about people feeling creative as people, doing whatever they want, making whatever they feel like. It's about enabling that sort of expression and creativity in the player. Our game is billed as a pottery party brawler, so we want you to feel like you're in a party, playing with your friends, seeing all of the weird stuff they're making. The core design we built, we wanted to feel approachable and more like an open multiplayer environment. We're really relying on parties and friends to jump into Discord, or even use the platform level voice chat instead of the more emergent voice chat that happens in some of those games. So there's that difference. But overall, I think Kiln is at its best when you're making goofy stuff, going into battle, and just spending a couple hours with your friends. And if you want to call it friend slop, that's great. I really hope that people take inspiration from the game to try more creative stuff in their life and to try pottery in real life. If this makes you feel like, oh, maybe I could do that or try that, I hope that you take that impulse and try it out. Or really any creative thing. Make your own weird little guys in real life too. I think that was really the goal from the beginning, to inspire people to make more stuff. I'm excited to see what they make in Kiln. Derek Brand chose pottery not as some arbitrary choice to make the game stand out, but because he intentionally wanted to inspire other people to make something that they wouldn't have thought to before. Double Fine decided to make a game about spending time with your friends, making pots, and showing them off to each other while you bash other pots to pieces. And you know what? I think they accomplished just that. I have hours of footage of me and my friends sitting together making pots and being excited to show them off to people. There's moments of me just ogling at other people's pots and commenting how much I like them. Looking at what my friends made inspired me to make something that I wouldn't have thought to before. Obviously, Double Fine isn't an indie company, and coming from Derek Brand himself, it seems that Microsoft is surprisingly willing and lenient about their intent and adamancy to make out-of-the-box games that forego genre and industry norms. But I think most people are pretty aware of the current state that Xbox is in, and it's not surprising that the outlook on the future of the brand is bleak because they've been spiraling for the better part of 2 decades now. I'm sure there will be companies on the chopping block, and Double Fine obviously isn't pumping out Call of Duty level sales yearly. Hell, even when games at Xbox do well financially and critically, they still can get shut down. I don't know any developers at Double Fine, but I know they've made some really great games that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and I would hate to see them not have the opportunity to make unique, fun, and enjoyable games because the cabal of elite pedophiles that make up their boardroom have decided that their profit margin and stock prices are more important than making fun, innovative, weird, unique experiences made by a team of passionate people who love what they do. This came from an internal game jam that they've been working on for nearly 10 years. This is a labor of love made by somebody who cares, and even if it's not a billion-dollar product, even if they're owned by Xbox, even if this is the last thing that Double Fine makes, that should still mean something. Sometimes it's good to scroll through a game store and pick out a weird, quirky game that seems to perk your interest, because the people who made it probably really cared. Double Fine isn't indie by any means, but they made a game because they really wanted to make it, and that's important in my opinion. It's really telling that Kiln not only inspired me to want to try out real pottery, as well as devote multiple hours of my life to making quirky, weird, stupid, dumb, and funny pots in their game, but also got me to make this video talking about it. If you end up playing Kiln, I hope that it inspires you to make something that you would genuinely enjoy, and try something new that you've been curious about. And if you don't, I hope that at least I can inspire you to create something like this game did to me. There's a very inherent value in making something that inspires others, and that's what this game has done for me. TLDR, I think the game is really fun and unique, and you should play it, and make some inspired, cute-looking pots. And also, on the minuscule chance that any developers manage to see this, I think y'all should add custom lobbies and also make it so it's easier to see your friends' pots without needing to go into a game. Other than that, I think you made a really unique game, and I thank you for it. If I had to suggest a game mode, I think a really funny game mode would be like having people go into a lobby and make pottery within like 10 minutes based on a prompt, and then have people judge the pottery based on those prompts, and whoever gets the most points win. It's like a game mode that I got from like Minecraft lobbies. It's not something unique, but I think it'd be really fun for this game. Anyways, video over.